Hi there. My name is Elizabeth Jennings, and I am a part of Kingdom Billionaire. A few weeks ago, Saren had reached out to me and asked if I would record a testimony or write up one. And I said yes, of course. I wanted to share just the many benefits that I've gotten from being a part of the Kingdom Billionaire membership. I call it this life changing connection, this coaching call. It has really changed my life. It's really changed my mindset. And it's really propelled my faith. My name is Elizabeth Jennings, and I have always been a woman of faith. I am a single mom of two children. Of course, we all have a story, so there's a backstory to where all that came from. At one point, I was married for 17 years and then got divorced and kind of left a life of stability to kind of trust God and live a life of faith and abundance and just walking into my purpose and what He wanted me to do and no longer what I wanted. And everything that God has done has led me in that path of trusting Him. And this divine connection with Mario and Saren and the Kingdom Billionaire is another part of that divine connection. So when Saren reached out to me to record a testimony, it was an interesting time, just because my life was really in a transitional point, just based on being committed to the direction and of both Mario, Saren, and what God had been kind of confirming, and what through my church at Destiny World Outreach, what my pastor had been confirming that this is a year of moving forward, the year of forward, and it will happen is kind of actually the series we in, and not to doubt what God has already told us. So I'm an occupational therapist by profession. I've been doing it for 19 years, just about. I absolutely love my profession. I love what I get to do. I love being able to pour into others. But 2 years ago, after I had lost my mom to stomach cancer and went through the divorce, God had put in my heart to go through a certification. It was a life coach certification. And once I completed this certification, it changed my life. I started being a person who valued being whole and being well and walking to my purpose. I started writing some books, I launched my business, Remember You Matter Coaching. And in this area that I am, it's different. You know, this isn't a business that's covered by insurance. It's one that you make. It's one that you really kind of have to push and promote. And just the personality that I had, I was very introverted, not a social, your normal business person. But with what God had given me, I started finding courage, just trusting His word. He would open doors where a lot had kind of came through. There was commercials that were created for the business. There were just opportunities to grow, to connect with people, to network with the community. And then also that brought me to Kingdom Billionaire. So most recently, in May of this year, I made a decision that my time was very occupied in my full-time job as an occupational therapist for the school district. And I realized, even though I had made some gains in my business with promoting myself and starting to see clients and putting out my speaking business, I didn't have the time to get the business that, if it came in, I couldn't say yes because my whole week and even nights with paperwork was kind of consumed. So I made a decision to resign without having a backup that was going to cover that, but just trusting God, because it was just some things that were confirmed in my heart, and I just felt uncomfortable. And usually when I feel uncomfortable, that's a push to either you're going to stay here and be safe, or you're going to trust me and walk out in uncomfort. And after reading the word and putting God first, and making sure that I tithes and sowed above and beyond, and giving God my first based on what I was learning from Kingdom Billionaire, it just became easier to trust God and to walk out in faith. And so I turned in my resignation, and that was May, June timeframe. So it's been 3 months, and I was in this season of, there was distractions that came from different opportunities. There was opportunities of, okay, what about this position? What about being a college professor, and just some other things that still didn't center around the business, but that seemed like it would be, okay, I could put the business to the side if this came open. But to me, those were distractions, things that wanted to still divert me from God's purpose, because He was still giving me some ideas of what to do for this business that would still just change the lives of others, in regards to a boys mentorship program that He wanted me to start, continue to work with the veterans, and some things I'm doing with that. I started having more clients, starting to kind of reach out and spread the word, and more people in the community kind of coming to me. So it was kind of like this pull. What do I do? Do I put the business to the side because I still have two kids that I need to take care of, I still need to pay my bills, or do I, put these other opportunities to the side and just kind of, so I was kind of really torn. And what God started doing is, as I prayed and prayed for His direction and sought Him first, and went through a period of seclusion and just fasting and trusting Him a little bit more so I could hear Him, He started to kind of shut things down where positions that I knew that I was qualified for, or that I just knew I would do well, the answer started being no to me. So it made that easy. And, there was this period of, am I considering that to be rejection, or is that God, His protection and His provision, and Him letting me know, this isn't the door you want, but if you keep knocking, I'll lead you in the right direction. Just stay close to me. So most recently, the job that I initially resigned for, that I did, I enjoyed, I realized that they didn't find a replacement, and so they came back to me and asked, hey, we will give you more money, we'll try to find help for you. And it was tempting. It was tempting to kind of go back to that position of safety and security and comfort. But we had a coaching call probably that same night, which I needed. And on that call, Mario had brought up a topic about Peter, and when Jesus was walking on the water and He was singing, and He told Peter to come to Him, and Peter started walking, but then the winds came, and when it came, he started to sink because he took his eyes off of God. And I have it right here in Matthew 14 and 31. I read it after the discussion. Immediately, Jesus reached out His hand and caught him. You of little faith, He said, why did you doubt? And that's just one part of when Peter was in that situation. And I saw myself like in that same type of situation. I had walked out of faith by resigning and trusting God, and I was walking along, but I found the winds of distraction of looking at, okay, my finances are now like decreasing. How am I going to pay my bills? I had wanted to register my kids in private school. How was I going to take care of this? And so at that moment, I had to make a decision, and I prayed about it. I read about it. In the middle of the night, that night, God woke me up, and I just heard Him say, you were made for more. You were made for more. And as I heard that, and as I just remembered God's word, I realized, I had a choice to make. Either I was going to keep walking out on faith and trust God, or I was going to go back to comfort, have my time consumed, and not be able to do this thing that I feel so strongly that God has called me to do, with changing the lives of others in a different way, and allowing that time and just allowing that process. So I called the next morning, and I turned down the offer. And it was hard. It was really hard to do, just because it was one of those where I was torn. But after I did that, I went to church and I just started praying. And while I was at church on our Wednesday night service, I heard God speak to me, and He just gave me these ideas. Mario had gave us assignment after our last coaching call, that he wanted us, these scriptures that we had, to claim over about faith. And I started saying them out loud multiple times a day. And then with that, I just started feeling empowered and knowing that, can still trust God to go the rest of the way, that I wasn't going to be that person who, started a journey and then went back to comfort, that I was going to keep going on this journey of faith and trusting God and believing that this business that he gave to me, because it was not my idea, that he was going to flourish. But this courage, this faith, this ability to still tithe and give above, this ability to still, wake up and trust God, and everyone else is wondering what you're going to do and you're believing, it is not my place to decide that. As long as I remain in faith and remain faithful to God, that he will do the rest. And in this journey of being a single mom, my circle is small, but I'm so grateful that within that small circle, God has planted the right people. And Kingdom Billionaire, Mario and Saren and the team that's come along, just their connection has been amazing. And it has propelled my faith to still trust that God is going to make a way. He has always made a way, and he's not going to stop doing that. So as I give this testimony, it's an in-process testimony, because I am believing God for more. I am believing God for greater. I am believing that he is going to allow my speaking business, my coaching business, the mentorship that I'm doing, the service that I'm doing in my community, to be able to expand beyond what I could be able to imagine. And I'm believing God for triple, and at times I have tripled my giving to be able to kind of match that. And so it is up to me to challenge God, to say, Lord, I've proved you in the things that you've said, so now I'm just standing in faith and continuing to walk this and trust you. So I want to thank the Kingdom Billionaire team for allowing me to find the courage to get out of my comfort zone, to continue to see what God is doing and how he's expanding my life and who he is changing me and involving me into. So my testimony today is, despite what things may look like, if you continue to keep God the main thing, continue to seek him first, in the morning when you're waking up, throughout the day, when you end your day, when that bond is created, which is what a big part of what I've learned from the Kingdom Billionaire, there are changes in you that they have to start foundational with that. Before you can see the blessings come into your life, you have to be willing to be steadfast, unremovable, and continuing to believe that the things that God has promised, he will continue to do and bring into manifestation. So at this point, I look forward to making another one of these when I see the manifestation of what God is going to continue to do. I know there's no limit to it, so it's going to continue to keep happening. But in the midst of what is going on in my life right now, I am empowered to know that even though I don't see the direction of it, I know that God has a higher plan. And so I just want to thank the Kingdom Billionaire team. I am proud to be on it. I am proud of what it is doing in me and in my life, and within my business. So you guys be blessed, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. Bye-bye.